In 2024, I hated gaming. Now, when you hear a statement like that, your first thought is probably, well, 2024 was great for games. A lot of great games came out. And I agree. In 2024, a lot of great games released, such as Balatro, Astrobot, which ended up winning Game of the Year, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which was a fantastic take on the original Final Fantasy VII. No matter what type of game you like, 2024 was a great year for gaming, and I feel like everybody got something that they would personally like. So why didn't I personally like 2024? It's not that I hated the games that were releasing, because I did like those games. I hated what gaming had become for me. In 2024, I reached a point where I never thought I would reach. And it was the point where I wasn't playing video games for fun anymore. It felt like whenever a game released, my first mindset wasn't, oh, I'm so excited to talk to my friends about this game, or I'm excited to just play this game. It was always, how can I turn this game into content? How can I make unique content for this game? When am I going to stream this game? Which is hilarious. If you've ever watched my stream, you know I stream like once every 3 months. But inside of my brain, it was always, in 2024 was the peak of this, where it was strictly content focused, and I kind of started to lose sight of why I play video games in the first place. So while I was enjoying games in 2024, I always felt kind of guilty when I was playing games on my own. I wasn't making content for them. I'm like, why am I playing this game? I could be making content for it. I could be making videos for it. And it just kind of made my brain shut down. And I was like, I can't do it. My goal for 2025 was to develop a healthier relationship with gaming. No longer was I gaming just to make content. I wasn't thinking about engagement. I wasn't thinking about YouTube title. I wasn't thinking about thumbnails. I wasn't thinking about how I need to be the first person to platinum this game. I was strictly focused on enjoying my game. And if a video came from it, cool. If a stream came from it, cool. But if I did not feel like doing it, if I just wanted to enjoy a video game and talk to people about it in my Discord maybe, then that's what I did for this year. In 2025, I have played a bunch of great games that I just have not talked about. Whether it's Expedition 33, which is personally my game of the year. Whether it was Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, a game I thought I really wouldn't like, but ended up really loving. There's also Donkey Kong Bonanza, a game I figured would be good, and as we all guessed, it was pretty good. I finally finished Hollow Knight this year. A game people have been trying to get me to play for years. I wanted to finish it before Silksong came out so I could play Silksong, but I didn't end up playing Silksong. But I will get to Silksong, but I finished Hollow Knight. It was great. I have played so many great games this year, but there is one game in particular that I want to talk about in this video. And it is a game that I have always been very iffy about. But this year, I was determined to play this game no matter what. And that is Metal Gear Solid 3. Metal Gear Solid is highly regarded as one of the best game franchises of all time. And it is a series that I've tried multiple, I cannot emphasize this enough, multiple times to play it. But every time I try to play it, I just never make it anywhere. The thing that always turned me off to Metal Gear is whenever I tried to play it, I just absolutely hated the controls. And whenever I booted it up, I never made it. I always started with Metal Gear Solid 3. Never even tried to boot up 1 and 2. I always tried to boot up 3. And I would always get stuck in the beginning forest area because I'm like, this controls so bad. And it was just years of me being stuck in this forest. But I was like, you know what? I'm getting out of this forest this year. This year I was lucky enough that the remake of Metal Gear Solid 3 was coming out, and I was hoping that the remake would alleviate some of the problems I had with the game, which is mostly just I thought it controlled bad. So it's like a modernized version of this. Maybe the controls are better and I'll enjoy the game more. So I gave Konami my $70 and I started my journey into Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta. My goal was simple. I wanted to finish this game. The furthest I have made in the original Metal Gear Solid 3 was I made it to the bridge where the big boss, what is her name? The boss shows up and she just kind of beats you up. And that is the furthest I had ever made it in this game. So I needed to get out of this dreaded forest to kind of commit to myself that, hey, I'm doing this. Honestly, the way the game controls isn't that much different from the original in my opinion. So I still didn't love the controls, But this time, I was just gonna suck it up and just play through the game, whether I didn't like the controls or not. As I progressed through the game, one thing I realized about Metal Gear that I never really noticed is I was always under the impression that this was a super serious game, and I found out that it's a bit silly. Whether it's the funny calls you get throughout the game, or Ocelot's silly little gun thing that he does every single time you see him, or some of the other freaky things the game lets you do. If you know, you know. I found that this game found a perfect balance of very serious moments while also having that comedy in between, to where it didn't really feel like overwhelming. You ever watch a movie or play a game where it's supposed to be serious, but there's like, and they try to include comedy, and the comedy just feels forced and out of place. The comedy here always is in a moment where it feels like comedy fits, but also when they go to those emotional moments, there isn't no comedy there. Everybody's super serious. I found myself really appreciating this about the story, where it was like, okay, we have this really heavy moment, and then like maybe later there's like something that's kind of funny, and it's like, okay, like they're good at pulling you in and out of emotions to kind of navigate you through this story. After going through the intro part, I still wasn't entirely sold on the game, and you're gonna be so shocked by what actually sells me on going through and finishing this game.
But for you, in my time.
Yes, as embarrassing as it is, I had never made it to the opening scene in the game, and it felt like I was a part of some type of action movie. And I was like, bro, this intro is so crazy. What the song, the trailer, I was like, bro, this is crazy. And it made me want to push through and finish this game. It made me want to see some of the characters that were being displayed. I was like, bro, I have to see it through. Spoiler alert, there's a funny part in this game where I always saw this meme and I never understood it. Where I remember people talking about like a ladder or something like that. And I'm always like, what are people talking about? And there's a scene in this game where you're climbing up this ladder, and I'm like, I'm climbing up the ladder and it's taking forever. And I'm like, why is this ladder taking forever? And then the theme song starts to play, and I'm like, okay, it goes through the whole little opening intro song while you're climbing a ladder, and it had me crying laughing, bro. I was like, what are we doing here? It was great. Just small things like that are reasons why I really like this game. I want to talk about my personal favorite part in this game, and it's the boss fight. I found that each boss fight in this game is very unique. And what I really love about the boss fights is there's multiple ways that you can go about it. There's a passive way, there's multiple items you can use. I didn't realize, okay, I was like, what is this pill for? And it's called the fake death pill. And I was like, okay, what is this pill for? So I bite the pill and I'm like, okay. And it gives me this screen where it's like continue or exit. And I'm like, how do I come back to life? Figuring out that you can go to the menu from the death screen inside of boss battles, and the boss, I specifically used this, I believe the lizard boss, where I popped the death pill and I came back and he was like, oh, you're back to, like small things like that, where there's so many unique ways to kind of interact with your gadgets. There's ways to deal with bosses to where I'm like, bro, they really leave it up to you to deal with these bosses the way you want to. If you just want to go guns blazing and just shoot the bosses, you can do that. If you want to be a bit more tactical and use your equipment in unique ways that affect the boss, you can go about that way. If you just want to tranquilize them, you want to go for a passive kill, and you know you can get their camo, you can get different things. It rewards you for playing in a passive manner. It also punishes you for playing in an aggressive manner. If you know, you know. So I really enjoyed how different and how unique the boss fights were. Because I was really concerned about the boss fights, because I was like, how crazy can these boss fights be, judging from like the regular gameplay I was playing, where I was just like, I'm kind of knocking these guys out, I'm putting them to sleep. So I'm like, what unique can they do? What unique thing can they do with these boss fights? And I was blown away, bro. Every single boss fight was very unique from each other. Every boss fight felt like it had impact. Every character you really cared about. I like those little, like, there's like little gimmicks for each of them. There's like secrets to each of them. My friend told me about, I didn't do this. I looked it up and it's true. I didn't do this, but apparently there's a boss, the old man with the sniper man, where if you don't come to the game for like 7 days or something and you come back, he's just dead. I found out you don't even have to do this boss fight. There's a section in the game where you could just snipe this dude before you even meet him and he just dies. You don't see him anymore. So things like that, where I love games where you can really impact the story in different ways, because it makes me want to play through the game. I'm glazing right now, by the way. I am super glazing because I really thought that maybe Metal Gear Solid just wasn't for me. And I'm playing through these boss fights. I'm playing through these I'm getting these unique things. There's so many things I didn't even do in this game where I'm like, I have to play it again. I literally have to play it again. So boss fights were, I went on a tangent. Boss fights were absolutely incredible. They were all unique. I really like how the game encourages you to play the game your own way, and I really respected that. And the boss fights is really where they shine. When people talk about Metal Gear, they typically talk about how great the story is. Like, they don't really focus too much on the gameplay. They say the gameplay is cool, the gunplay is cool, but they really talk about the story. And going through the story, at first I was like, this is your typical spy story. And then I get to the final part. I beat the final boss, and you find out what is happening in the story. I about damn near stood up in a military pose. Almost goddamn enlisted. The shit was, well, probably if you know the story, you probably shouldn't have lived. But I almost goddamn enlisted. I felt so bro. I didn't know what to think. I was so mad, sad, happy, disappointed, bro. The end scene where Snake is at the grave and he's just saluting, and I was playing this at 2 o'clock in the morning, mind you. My girls sleep, cats sleep, everybody sleep, just me. And I'm just sitting on the couch like this, head in hand. Cause I'm like, bro, there's no way they just did this to me. And that is a constant thing without the story. I like how the story is told. They have like these kind of like 1960s, 50s looking flashbacks. At first I was like, I don't really like these flashbacks. But as you get deeper and deeper into the story, you're like, bro, these flashbacks are great. They provide so much context. They have pictures. It makes sense. It's not like it's super complicated to follow. I like that, bro. Oh my God. Okay. And then bro, all the stuff at the ending. You know what I went and did? I went and bought the original Metal Gear. Metal Gear 1, Metal Gear 2, Metal Gear Solid. I bought all of it. I got it all now. And I was just like, bro, when people was talking about this story, I used to always get annoyed with Kojima because I'm always like, bro, people always glazing Kojima. Why? Why do people glaze Kojima so much? Because for me, like, I understand, Metal Gear is popular. I played Death Stranding. I didn't finish it, but I was just like, this is just okay to me. But you go through and you play Metal Gear and it all starts to make sense. You're like, I understand why people glaze this motherfucker. I'm gonna start glazing them too. Can I be a part of the glaze squad? I'm gonna tie this in back to the beginning of the video, because finishing this game made me realize that I am truly back in love with gaming. When I finished this game, I felt so strongly that I needed to talk to people about it. I was in Reddits. I was everywhere. Now I have to be careful because I haven't played Metal Gear 1 and 2. One of my friends is like the biggest Metal Gear person I know. I had to text him and let him know. Thanks for putting me on, gang. Because, bruh, I had slandered Metal Gear for so long. I've slandered this game for like forever. And to finally be able to experience the greatness. And here's the thing, right? I've seen people online are feel 50-50 about the remake, right? Some people feel like it isn't necessary and stuff like that. And that's your choice to make, right? If you're a Metal Gear fan, if you played 3 and you think the original is fine, the original is never going away. It's always going to be there. It's always there for you to play. So it's never going away. But for people like me who play the original and I was like, I don't really like the controls. I wish it kind of looked better, which is such a like new gen take. Like, I wish it looked better. Like, just play the game, bro. I agree. It's not like I'm like some kid. Like, I'm 29, bro. I was around, all right? I was born when this game came out. I think what, Metal Gear 3 came out in 99, something like that. I was alive. I was 3, but I was here. So, yeah, this game made me realize that I was back falling in love with games. I was like, bro, this has provided the spark that I've been playing games throughout this year, and they don't get me wrong, games this year have been fantastic. And I'm like, these are great. But for some reason, this game in particular really sparked something in me where I'm like, yeah, I just like playing video games. I like talking about playing video games. I don't like thinking about what kind of content I need to make for a particular video. I don't like to think about, oh, this video is a 10 out of 10 or this 1 out of 10. I need to engage with people. I just like to play video games and talk to people about said video games. That's literally all I like to do. I don't care about fancy editing. I'm not finna edit. I'm not finna do all that. Like, I just want to talk to people about games. That's it. That's all I'm here for. I just want to talk to people about games. I don't want to be in the sphere where everybody's thinking negatively or everybody has a think piece about something, bruh. Because after playing this, I was like, man, I gotta vent. I had to vent. I was so upset by the end of this game. It wasn't like I was bad upset. It was just like, bro, everything makes sense. Everything makes sense. So this is literally like a 40-minute video, by the way. I'm gonna have to cut this down. So from the gameplay to the story to the characters, for the way they encourage you to play your own way. You don't have to be a mass murderer. They will punish you for that, by the way. I learned the hard way that I got punished. If you know the boss, he punishes you for this. So I couldn't even get his skin. And it makes you want to play the other games. It makes you want to understand where the story goes from here. Because from what I understand, this is the prequel. Metal Gear Solid 3 is the prequel. So everything else follows this, I believe. And so, yeah, apparently, I don't know. There's a lot going on in the story. So I thoroughly enjoyed myself. If you've never played Metal Gear, listen, $70 is a lot of money. It is. I'm not going to sit here and act like $70 isn't a lot of money for a remake. It is, right? And my goal isn't to convince you to buy this game. My goal is for you to understand how somebody who has hated Metal Gear for his entire life, he has thought this was the most boring franchise ever, has come out and he's like, bruh, I finally finished the game. It is incredible. I understand what everybody is talking about. So no longer on this channel will I be trying to push for making the content where it's, oh, this is going to get the best engagement. Oh, I need to be the first person to react to this. I'm just going to talk about games that I played. And I really enjoyed Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta. There is, right now, for me, there's so many games to play. That was my latest. I started Silent Hill F. Maybe I'll talk about that. Maybe I won't. Who knows? But if you're a Metal Gears fan, please in the comment section, bro, how did y'all, when you played Metal Gear Solid 3 for the first time, how did you feel about the ending? Because I'm still messed up about that. That hurt me. That was not nice. So I want to know what you got. If you've played the original, how do you think about Delta? Do you like Delta? Would you prefer another Metal Gear get remade? What do you guys think about this in the comment section below? I don't have anything special to say. I'm not going to over edit. I'm not going to tell you to subscribe. I'm not going to tell you to like. Just talk about your favorite game if you're a Metal Gear fan. And if you're not, what are you playing right now? As always, everybody, pass class, don't eat ass. I'm out this bitch.